Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Storytime channel. I'm Pallavi reading interesting story book for you. Today I'm reading chapter number 7, Helping the Dead, taken from the book The Day When I Stopped Drinking Milk, written by the great Sudha Murty. Now, let's go to the story. Vinayak was a college dropout in his early 20s. He came from an economically backward family. Vinayak's father was a timekeeper in a textile mill, and his family lived in a chawl. His parents always wanted him to complete his degree and get a job so that he could ease their financial burden. Vinayak got a few interview calls for jobs, but he was rejected because his communication skills in English was not good. After the rejections, he went for English classes, but his spoken language never improved. His friends Banya, Bapu, Murli, and others also live in the same neighborhood and had similar backgrounds. Vinayak was the go to man of his chawl. He babysat children, bought medicines for old people, got groceries for somebody, and fetched water for the house, among the other things. His favorite of all the tenants was Usha Tai's mother in law, Tunga Bai, who lived on the ground floor. She was old and could barely walk. She always sat outside and charpai in front of her kholi and counted her prayer beads. Whenever she saw Vinayak, she would say, Bala, sit down for 5 minutes. You run around so much. You are a real paropkari in the chawl. Have a cup of tea. It's my share of tea. Don't worry. Vinayak's helpful nature made him quite popular in his chawl, but you need money to survive in this world. He always dreamed of becoming a peon in a government office. He applied to many places, but there were many aspirants for the same job. Since he did not have any additional qualifications compared to others, he was always rejected. His contacts were also among the same level of the people as him, and hence the recommendations from them did not help him in getting a job either. Vinayak always looked forward to the Ganpati festival, which is a big event in Maharashtra. A great political leader, Lokmanya Tilak, started this festival about a century ago. Good dramas and public speeches are showcased during the festival. The idol of Lord Ganpati is kept in a public place and worshipped for 9 days. The decoration of Mantap depends upon the creativity of the organizers. Now, there are competitions among the Mantaps. Usually, there is an organizing committee consisting of men and women of the same age group. This committee plans a month ahead for the festival. All the events required money and labor. Labor is normally free because many people volunteer, but money is usually a problem. The organizers go from door to door to collect money. If the Ganpati is kept in the commercial area, the organizers collect more money. Unfortunately, Vinayak's Ganpati was not in a commercial area, hence his collection was moderate. Sometimes things happen in unexpected ways. One day, Vinayak and his friends went to a bank in the neighborhood with a receipt book and a donation box to collect money. The bank manager was very upset to see Vinayak and his friends since a lot of people came to the bank asking for donations. But this time he was even more upset because he had a foreign client sitting in front of him. It was Jim's first visit to India. He was writing a book about how Indian culture has survived despite foreign rule, various inventions, and cultural diversity. Jim had come to the bank to encash his traveler's check and asked the bank manager who these kids were. Why are you not allowing them to meet you? Asked Jim. The bank manager casually replied, Oh, don't worry about it. It is very common to ask for donation during the Ganpati festival season. Jim had never seen the Ganpati festival and wanted to visit the local mandap. He asked Vinayak, Can I come to see and take some photographs for my book? Vinayak understood Jim's English and agreed immediately. Jim came and saw the different activities that were part of the festival. He saw volunteers setting up the pandal, making the stage, decorating it with crepe paper flowers, stitching colorful curtains, and cutting thermocol sheets to make figurines. Amidst all this, the drama rehearsals were also going on in full swing. While talking to them, he realized that none of them were related to each other and were of different caste. He was amazed to see the total integrity. When he left, he gave $100 bill to the Ganpati fund. Vinayak's joy knew no bounds. He immediately ran to the bank and got it in cash. It came to 5,000 rupees. This was a big sum from a single donor and was completely unexpected. Vinayak decided not to spend this money unless it was really needed. Soon the festival was over with great pomp and show. There was some money left. When the organizers counted the money the next day, it amounted to almost 10,000 rupees. It was a big sum for them. Usually, 2 to 3,000 would remain every year, and the organizing committee would go to the local restaurant and treat themselves to dinner after all their hard work. This was a rare treat since they could not afford to go to such restaurant otherwise. But this year the money was way too much. Banya said, Shall we have beer this year? Bapu said, How about we go for a picnic and enjoy ourselves? Lata said, We should buy a microphone set so that we won't need to hire one every year. Murli suggested, We can keep this money in bank in a fixed deposit, then we will get interest and we can use it next year. Banya said again, Let's just share it so that we can all do whatever we want. Vinayak was still thinking about what he had seen that morning. He was in no mood to reply. He was upset because Thunga Bhai, who was so dear to him, had died and her body was lying in front of her kholi. That morning he had seen Usha Tai worrying about the cremation. Vinayak knew her precarious financial position. Apart from the sadness of the death, it was the expenses that were making her cry. Her husband, Sakharam, had a weak heart. The rent of the cremation was too much for them to afford, and Usha Tai was afraid that the stress would affect her husband's health. Since it was the end of the month, none of the people in the chawl were able to extend help since they themselves had no money left. Vinayak took a decision. Let's help Usha Tai with cremation, he said. We are four boys here. We can carry the dead body to the cremation ground and save that expense for Usha Thai. Then we can think about what to do with the money that we have left. Everyone was shocked at Vinayak's decision. Banya quietly said, "We are in a festive mood. Don't spoil it with such work." Vinayak did not listen to him. "If you want, you can support me. Otherwise, I will ask someone else to help me," he said. Banya said, "I don't have any experience carrying dead bodies to the cremation ground. How can I come?" Vinayak replied, "Nobody has any experience. That's always a first time." Vinayak's parent also raised an objection. "Oh, my child, how can you go to the cremation ground when both your parents are alive?" "But it's not bad work. We should help. Sooner or later, all of us are going to die right here in this crowded chawl. If we don't help our neighbors, please remember that nobody will be there to help us either." His parents pondered over the wisdom in Vinayak's word. After a few moments, his mother said, "Vinayak, you are absolutely right. You have our blessings. We are proud to have a son like you." His friends, however, followed him reluctantly. All of them went to the cremation ground and found that they had to pay some money there. Vinay took the money from the kitty and paid the required amount. Suddenly, Vinay got an idea. He said, "There must be many people in this city who are very poor and have nobody to help them cremate or bury their dead ones. They could be from any community. Why can't we help some of them? We can donate the remaining money towards that purpose. We won't get into the religious part of the cremation. That is left to the family. I am aware that we may be able to help only a few people, but it is better to spend towards a needy cause than to waste the money having beer. Don't you think that we should help people, particularly at such a time when they can't even think straight because their mind is preoccupied with thoughts of losing a loved one?" Banya and Bapu did not like the idea at all. But Lata was very enthusiastic. She said, "Vinayak, that's brilliant. Everybody does philanthropy in different ways, building schools, providing clothes to the needy, giving books, and donating blood. But I really like your idea. Last year, I went to Rajkot to see my uncle and I told him that I wanted to visit a special place there. He took me to the cremation ground. I was so scared, but it was amazing and beautiful. It was painted well and had a nice outer walls. Why should they have walls? Nobody is going to run away from there anyway." Banya joked. "Banya, shut up. Let's listen to Lata. She was saying something," said Vinayak. Lata continued. "It had a Shiva temple and a nice garden, shady trees and shades with benches and water arrangements. The atmosphere soothes and consoles the grieving people to the large extent. We are not rich to make all these arrangements in our city, but the least we can do is help the poorest of the poor in their last journey. If you agree, we can split the remaining amount, but I will use my share for this purpose. I haven't earned this money. It's public money and it should reach the public," said Vinay decisively. Lata immediately said, "I will give my share too." Everybody else looked at each other's faces and said, "We will also join you." Vinay's hidden leadership now came to the fore. He said, "Let's make a volunteer group. We will call ourselves Mukti Sena and we will help poor people." "Where will we search for poor people who need help with their dead?" asked Bapu. "We can start with a government hospital. My friend is a ward boy in one of the hospitals. I am sure that there are many poor people suffering like Ushatai, said Vinayak. Thus the Mukti Sena's journey began. Soon they realized that the money they collected was nothing compared to the number of people who needed their help. Some people could not afford to give any money, while others gave a few hundred rupees. Now Vinayak and his team had to think seriously about how long they would be able to continue like this. The news reached the mill union through Vinayak's father who worked there. The mill union offered to give bundle of free cloth. Still the Mukti Sena continued to fall short of money in their initial years. Vinayak learned that economic status is formed like a pyramid. The poor people stay at the bottom, but they are also real users and donors for such causes. Vinayak knew that over a period of time they could collect sufficient money for their day to day operation. As Vinayak and his team grew older, they required some money for their livelihood. But Vinayak said, "We won't take even a rupee from Mukti Sena's fund." Once a volunteer becomes a paid worker, there is always a chance of corruption making its way into the organization. So they decided that Mukti Sena would be an all volunteer organization and people would get other jobs for their livelihood. Almost all the members decided to work on their own. This would give them flexibility and time to contribute to Mukti Sena as well as obtain their own source of income. By this time, the word had spread about Mukti Sena and its honest volunteer. Many people came to help Vinayak and his team set up their individual businesses. Today, Mukti Sena has 30 volunteers who work day and night. All of them are entrepreneurs who earn a small income to take care of their family. These entrepreneurs run grocery shops, children nurseries, bicycle lending shops, paper distribution shops, and printing shops, among others. Whenever a Mukti Sena call comes, these volunteers always have a substitute to look after their shops until they come back. Their business never suffers because of their absence. Even today, Vinayak says that when a person is dead, caste is never an issue. One's birth only decides how one's body should be disposed of. He says, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai, sabko mera salam. Do you like this story? Then tell me in the comment box and subscribe our channel. Thanks for watching, guys.